They told stories of a forest that screams in silence. Rango stood alone by a shattered sign. The words half erased by time, danger, bear activity. The trees whispered with the wind, and something ancient stirred beneath the moss and shadows. He wasn't supposed to be here. No one was. But curiosity has a price, and tonight, the forest was hungry. The cabin walls were torn like paper-thick claw marks digging deep into the rotting wood. Blood still stained the porch, and silence held the air like a breath not yet released. Rango stepped forward, his lantern shaking slightly in his grip. Whatever did this wasn't just a bear. It was something older, angrier, watching him even now. The squirrel was barely alive, muttering through gasps about red eyes, about a growl that shook the sky. Rango leaned closer, heart pounding. As the creature whispered, "It doesn't eat. It hunts for revenge." Outside, the wind howled, and through the cracked window, a massive shape moved. The forest wasn't safe anymore. Deeper into the woods, the silence grew to complete. No birds, no wind, just the soft crunch of Rango's steps and the flicker of his lantern. Twisted trees leaned in like they were listening or waiting. Then he saw it, bones, dozens of them, picked clean, and something watching him from behind the mist. Then came the growl, low, ancient, and full of rage. Through the clearing stepped a bear, not normal, but monstrous, towering, with matted fur and red eyes glowing like embers. Rango dropped low behind a fallen log, barely breathing. The bear sniffed the air and smiled. It had found something new to hunt. Each paw print was a pool of blood, fresh and still warm. The trail led into the thickest part of the woods where even light didn't dare enter. Rango knelt, tracing a single claw mark. Something groaned behind the trees. He stood slowly, heart echoing in his ears. He wasn't alone. He was being led. The ranger's bag lay shredded beside the cliff. A crushed walkie-talkie buzzed with static. No signs of struggle, just disappearance. Rango stared over the edge as mist curled below. A distant roar echoed up the rocks. Somewhere down there, something had taken him, and now it was circling back. A red moon bled through the treetops, and there on the ridge stood the beast. Its eyes reflected crimson, and its roar cracked the stillness like thunder. Rango stared in frozen terror. Something about this night wasn't natural. It wasn't just a bear. It was a nightmare born under the blood moon. Bones lined the cavern floor, hundreds, maybe thousands. Tattered clothing, shattered gear. This wasn't a hunting ground. It was a ritual site. Rango stepped carefully through the gore, his lantern casting trembling shadows. A low growl rose from the dark tunnel ahead. He had found its home, but would he leave it? Out of the dark it came, teeth bared, claws slashing. Rango dove aside as the monstrous Grizzly crashed into stone. Dust filled the air. The beast snarled, its breath hot and foul. Rango's lantern shattered, and in that sudden darkness, two red eyes glowed. Closer and closer. The ground gave way beneath him. Rango fell, landing hard in a pit of roots and bones. Blood trickled down his arm. He looked up, and the bear's face appeared glaring from above with a twisted growl. It didn't attack, not yet. It wanted him to suffer, to know it could take him whenever it wanted. Pain blurred the lines of reality. Rango saw ghostly animals circling victims of the bear, whispering warnings. It never dies. It feeds on fear. The sky twisted above. Shadows laughed from the trees, and the bear's growl echoed from every direction. This forest, it was cursed, and he was its next offering. With every ounce of strength, Rango pulled himself up the pit wall, vines cutting into his hands. Behind him, the bear slept, its breath shaking the earth. Rango didn't dare breathe. One wrong step, one broken twig, and the beast would awaken. This escape was only temporary. Tents ripped apart, bones gnawed clean, blood soaked into the soil. Rango wandered through the bear's domain, an arena of death. No sign of life, just echoes of screams long past. The air grew colder, then behind him a breath, heavy, warm, close. Rango stood at the edge of the ravine, rain pouring, torch blazing. The bear charged like a demon let loose. Rango waited, one breath, one chance, then through the flame. Oil erupted below. The bridge cracked. The beast roared as fire consumed the night, and Rango disappeared into the smoke. The forest burned. Flames swallowed the beast's roars as it fell into the ravine. Rango stood above, body shaking, eyes locked on the firestorm below. It wasn't just a monster, it was vengeance itself. And finally, the woods had silenced it, or so he thought. Dawn crept through blackened trees. Ash floated like snow. Rango limped through the dead forest, a survivor barely. But the silence felt wrong. It wasn't relief, it was holding its breath. Something still watched him, from somewhere, just out of sight. He carved it deep into the wood. Beware the forest remembers. Behind him, the trees stood still. But for a moment, just a moment, one shadow moved. Rango didn't look back. He just walked on, praying the forest had forgotten his name.